Welcome home, Raiders. Tonight, the Western Clash is finally set for the HGC. Plus, we'll talk WoW Arena EU Cup number 2 and Mythic Dungeon Invitational. Plus, there have been a lot of changes to the Overwatch League. We'll take a look at what's happening before we hit Stage 2 this week. All of that and so much more as Convert to Raid presents BattleNet Sports. Hi, everybody. My name is Pat Crane. I'm your host of this show. And on this week's show, we have a bunch of different information that we need to talk about. I was expecting more of a sleepy week in eSports with Overwatch League action off this week. But as it turns out, there's so much to talk about. Overwatch League has made a bunch of moves as far as player rosters are concerned. Plus, we have some updates as we head into Stage 2. We also have WoW Arena EU Cup number 2 that we're going to be talking about, as well as Mythic Dungeon Invitational. Mythic Dungeon Invitational Proving Grounds start in about a week and a half and only go for 2 weeks or so. So make sure to listen in to that for more information. Plus, the Western Clash is all set now. Western Clash doesn't happen for a couple of weeks, but all the teams are now selected. We have our casters in place as well, so lots of information to talk about there. Plus, this week in HCT, Hearthstone, the tour stops in Sydney. We don't have a particular section about what's coming up from Joss because we had some scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. But Sydney is coming up this weekend. And if you are in North America, like I am, you will probably be watching VODs because it's on the other side of the world and all the times are screwy because it's like 12 hours difference for most Americans, I think. So be looking for the VODs for that, unless, of course, you want to stay up at all hours of the day, the morning. I don't know. The times are all screwy. Okay, so with that, let's get into the action. Let's talk a little HGC. Let's talk a little HGC now, and so we've got the Western Clash coming up. And so I thought I'd bring in Jules Scott. Jules, hello.
Hello.
And of course, you know Jules from Torn Think Tank and Nerf This, and of course from BattleNet Sports now as well. So let's talk a little HGC, and we had like a shortened program for this last weekend, correct?
Yes. So we only had Friday and Saturday matches, and these matches were already set. So it wasn't like we were dealing with any playoff scenarios that were like designated for the weekend, but everybody kind of came out as expected. And the one team that could have the one team that could have decided their own fate, which was Gale Force eSports, they did not decide their own fate. They lost to Temple Storm. So all it meant was that Heroes Hearth eSports had to win one map against LFM to qualify to get in, and they did. So I gotta say, I'm gonna do this right now. I was right. I was right.
Right. Okay.
Because when we first sat down before the season started, I said, you need to watch Heroes Hearth eSports. They're going to be contenders. These guys know what they're doing. They fought their way through the open division, yes, and they were not a team last year, but look at what they've accomplished. They have 3 people who are on their team that have been to LANs before. They know what it takes to win, and they did. And now they're going to Katowice in about a week and a half, which is incredible.
Right. So it's Poland, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Poland.
I'm just making sure. That's kind of becoming a new hub for esports, or at least more familiar to those in NA, because it seems like they're holding more and more stuff there. So
Oh,
just in
yeah.
general.
Well, and Katowice has been holding esports for years. It's just
sure.
that we in Blizzard esports haven't really cared a ton, right? And so now that they've been doing these bigger Blizzard competitions there, we care more. That's just the basis behind it. We just know about it more because that's where these players are going.
Guilty as charged. So who else going to be going to? So we've got as far as those guys that are going to be going to the Western Clash from NA, it's Tempo Storm, Team 12, Team Freedom, and Heroes Hearth, right?
Right. So pretty much expected for the group. People would have predicted that Gale Force Esports could have been in there. I did not predict that, and so that was good because I was correct. But Team 12 is definitely going to be like they've been there before. They were Roll20 Esports last year, if you guys didn't remember. So they are now Team 12 and very good teams. Like we have really good teams in NA. I am going to put it out there right now, though. I don't know if these guys have what it takes up against the caliber of players that are coming in from EU, especially Team Dignitas. So,
well, and
I'll be up early to watch, but I'm a little disheartened by the talent.
And maybe we should talk a little bit about the EU side of things because we do have those results as well. Now, last week I talked about the top four being the top four. I mean, those ones on paper that looked really good that are kind of known factors: Team Dignitas, Fnatic, Method, and Team Liquid. However, this last weekend we saw a little bit of movement on that, didn't we?
We did, and Zealots were the ones that came out in the top four this year, and I think that was a big surprise for a lot of people. We have a very interesting dynamic in EU right now because you've got Dignitas at 6-1, Fnatic at 5-2, Method at 5-2, and then Zealots at 4-3. But I don't think the standings really tell you the story behind what has happened right now. Dignitas themselves have only lost in total 4 maps out of the entirety of the first half of the first phase. So you're looking at a team that's just dominating, like completely dominating. And then you've got Fnatic, who's lost 8 maps total. They're dominating. Let's compare that to the NA grouping. Tempo Storm dominating 6-1, but their map record is 20-8. Team 12, 18-10. So you got to look at when they're placing in each of these locations and how they're placing to look at, like, what is their domination potential? It's kind of how I look at it. The domination potential is much stronger in EU. And I hate to say that, but I would be thrilled if we made a massive showing. Well, and
it does seem to, I mean, for the EU, it really does seem to fall off pretty rapidly because, I mean, maybe it's because you have Team Dignitas, which is so, I don't know, they've really proven themselves in this early part of the year. With only losing 4 maps, but then you have, I mean, like Zealots who just made it into the Clash. Those guys are 15-15, so they've dropped half the maps. So I don't know. Yeah.
So you when you're kind of analyzing this and looking at it, you have to look at how have they performed against the other teams, all top 8 teams or 7 other teams against them in their division, and so. There's a disparity here. There's a pretty large disparity here. And when you look at the bracket that's coming up for Western Clash, it's not going to be easy for NA. I'm just holding out my hope because I'm worried. I'm very worried.
All right. So do you have, so other than we're probably going to see EU dominate at least a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any other big predictions as far as Western Clash goes or anything like that?
So I will say my guess for the top team in NA is going to stand with Tempo Storm. I think that they have the best chance against any of these EU teams to have a decent showing here. Because really when it comes down to it, we look at how they perform against each other and against their own region, right? So when you come out of this, the important numbers, the metrics that I will use and a lot of people will analyze is how did you stand against them in this top grouping? So out of the 4 teams, where did you place? I think that Tempo Storm's going to be number 1. I'm going to put Team 12 at number 2 for this one, and Team Freedom at number 3, and Heroes Hearth at number 4. That's where I'm going to place them. Heroes Hearth has to face Team Dignitas, so they're probably jumping right down to the bottom bracket and have to fight their way out of losers bracket. It's not going to be easy for them, and that seeding is tough. It's really, really, really tough. Well, so that's where I'm at right now.
So we've got a couple of weeks until Western Clash actually happens. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend. It's March 2nd or whatever.
So, it's today's Monday. It's about a week and 3/4 from now.
Yeah. So it'll be the weekend of March 2nd. That's when all the action is going to be happening. And we now also know, on top of the teams that are going to be in the Western Clash, we also know the broadcasting team that's going to be behind it, right?
Yes, and we have a bit of a surprise here. Got your standard lineup, the ones that are currently casting. Jayhel, Kaldor, Trixler, Gillyweed. Dreadnought is coming back for this one. There has been some unknowns as to what's been happening, but Gillyweed and Dreadnought are trading off the phase this season, so we don't quite know why about that. He will be at the Western Clash. And we now have a brand new caster that we haven't seen for these level of competitions, and that's Vandy. She's a caster for the NAZ scene, the Australian New Zealand group, and I'm really, really stoked to see her in action. I watched some of her VODs today because I will admit, and you guys will probably admit this too, I didn't know who she was until I heard her name. And that is awesome to me. That is freaking amazing that someone has come out from nowhere, seemingly nowhere, kind of working their way up. And she's been casting for the ANZ scene on their side. So they have their own stream. They have their own caster teams. I was really surprised, really stoked. We've gotten some great talent out of ANZ. Skimmy is one of them who's been awesome. I love him. I think he's great. So let's go, Vandy. Let's do this.
Right. Anything else as far as like Western Clash goes that you want people to know about? And I know that, we've got some time to prepare, some time to maybe look at some of those VODs and see what you think about, I don't know, which teams are going to come out on top or whatever in the big scheme of things. Yeah. But anything else Western Clash wise? So
watch right now. There will most likely be a big preview that's published by Blizzard eSports. It's usually Blizz Heroes or Heroes eSports, I think is the Twitter account. Leading up to the Western Clash, they will show the power rankings, and they do this every year, so I can't imagine that they won't do it now. So follow them on Twitter or watch on the HGC page because they'll publish this, and it will be a really good primer if you're like, I was watching Overwatch League all season, and now I want to catch up on this because it's kind of cool. That'll be a good way for you to get familiarized with these teams and then get a sense of who you might want to be kind of screening for. For us in America, the competition starts at like 4 a.m. on Friday. So, yeah, I'll be setting my alarm pretty early, but trying to change my sleep schedule a little bit.
Sure.
But there'll always be VODs out there, and there's VODs for the entirety of the season, so that you can kind of catch, like, these teams have played against each other in their regions, so you can watch how, like, so you could see like Dignitas versus Fnatic, that kind of thing.
Right.
Just to be able to give yourself a chance to get familiar with the personalities behind them.
Yep. And once again, it does kind of look like NA is behind the 8 ball on this kind of just overall. Looks like EU might be a little dominant.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But we've really, I'm impressed with what we've been showing. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen after these guys come back from a LAN like this, because it really does change their play styles. They do. Because they're scrimming against each other.
Sure.
They're scrimming against different regions. They come back with different perspectives on the game, which is always super cool. So I'm waving the NA flag, as I always do, but I'm going to be supporting you guys in the EU who are you're going to dominate this, and I feel it. So, yeah, go NA. Love you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jules, for your take on this. And once again, the HGC Western Clash takes place March 2nd, that weekend. So we'll be looking for that in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Jules. All right. Well, we have a lot of esports to cover today. Actually, probably more than I even expected that we would cover this week. And to help me with a great deal of it, we bring in Thist again from Lagging Balls and from doubletap.com. That's dbltap.com. Welcome, Thist.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So first up, so we have many things that we need to talk about, you and I.
Yes.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. It's a secret.
It's not a secret, actually.
Oh, okay.
The first thing I want to talk to you about is MDI, the Mythic Dungeon Invitational. It's back, and we now have a little bit more information, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All the information is so good. You know, I was so afraid that they were going to bring the MDI back, but they have, and like, my life has meaning. I have something to look forward to in life. It's going to be great.
All right.
It's going to be great. And just like every little tiny itty bitty piece of information that they want to like feed me slowly through social media, that's fine. That's fine.
Sure. Well,
Something.
I mean, and we knew that it was coming back. I mean, we saw the announcement weeks ago when they were talking about Arena and MDI. And so now we actually have dates and we know what is going on with that stuff. So we're talking about Proving Grounds now. This is going to be the first stage of the Invitational. What happens? When is it starting? What are we looking at?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. So the Proving Grounds, they start the week of February 27th, and that will go over a 2-week period. So you use this sort of time frame to submit your scores and, just like log your time, get all your stuff in. And I think that goes to March 13th.
Yep.
So you have, ample time to hopefully, if you're planning to try to participate in the MDI, like you already have a team and you already have things set up. But if not, this is your time to go. This is go time. So good luck.
Yes, it most definitely is. And you have it'll start February 27th and it goes through March 13th at 7 a.m. PST. Very important to tell you that part. And so you can submit all of your times and everything like that. It's all good. And then from there, we will move on to stage 2, which we don't know when that is.
No, but I mean,
that's okay.
It's kind of excruciating, but whatever. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these teams come forward, maybe on social media or, just to get some sort of like semblance of like who and what kind of teams are signing up. Well, we know that Method has picked up a North American Mythic Dungeon Invitational team, so that's good. Good to see those guys doing it. But basically, over the Proving Grounds period, you obviously need 5 people, and you go through the highest difficulty Mythic Keystone dungeons you can handle, and your goal is to complete 5 level 23 Mythic Keystone dungeons over 2 weeks. Yeah. So there's some weird rules, like your group has to have the same 5-player characters in all 5 runs. So you can't just be like, okay, well, I play this map better on my rogue than my mage, so I'm going to go and do that. Like, you can't do that. Don't do it.
Sure.
Duplicate dungeons don't count, so just like try to get them all. Runs have to be completed within the Keystone timer, obviously. And you have to pick a captain to register your team. So if you get all that stuff done, like basically it's not asking too much. Like that's what you'd be doing anyway, right?
Sure.
Like, gonna go play WoW. And that's the beauty of this esport, really. It's like, it's not PvP, it's PvE. It's what you do when you log into the game. Probably you get your dailies done, you grab your 4 other friends and you're like, hey, let's run some keys. Let's run them as high as we can.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the best in the world. Who knows? This is your chance to find out.
Wow.
Sorry.
All right. So once again, that goes February 27th through March 13th. And be sure to check out all of the information on worldofwarcraft.com for that stuff. We also have to talk about a little bit of WoW Arena as well, because we had the EU Cup number 2 happen. And, again, I think we talked about this when the EU Cup number 1 was around. It seemed like there were a lot of really quick matches and kind of I don't know. I don't know if it was unexciting, but it just seemed a little lackluster, although the finals were actually kind of intense.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they were. And I'm so grateful for that because, I agree. And I think we said this last week or the week before. It's like, it's funny how the EU teams seem to favor like precision and quick execution over like the long, like grindy sort of like power struggle fights,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was cool that we saw just like so many melee characters or classes for NA, but for EU, we're seeing like rogues, we're seeing mages, which is great. But it's more like, the CCs and the interrupts versus the like I'm more powerful than you and my healer is going to heal me. And
Right.
so it's interesting. Like I think that might be like a personal preference, as far as like entertainment wise.
Sure.
And it's interesting because like I'm a mage, obviously, so it's cool to watch like the expert CCs and the expert interrupts and the expert blinks and stuff like that. But as far as entertainment quality goes, there's just something about like two warriors wailing on each other for like 5 minutes. I don't know, but anyway, so the final standings from bottom to top were Living the Dream, Skill Capped Red, WWDK Nation, Reformed, ABC, XRB to the Moon, Ascendant, and Skill Capped Black.
Right.
Yes.
And so we had Ascendance and Skill Cap Black in the finals, and that actually it was the best of 7, and we went to 7, and it was a reverse sweep. It was kind of very interesting and very cool to see this mirror match between those two teams.
Rogue and Frostmage. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
And it was so great because like last weekend with the NA, it came down to Game 7 as well.
Right.
And I love when that happens because like you spend all week and watching this stuff and you're just like, I hope that this like ends in like a beautiful climax. And it was interesting because at one point during the championships, ABC went up against XRB, and ABC is the world finals. I think they came in second place at BlizzCon last year, and XRB won the first EU Cup. So I was expecting like fireworks, and it was okay. Whatever, but but at least Skill Cap Black.
It was fine. It was okay.
It was fine. It was
Right.
Great. But yeah, the last match, the Game 7, Skill Cap Black versus Ascendant, we had Waz on Rogue, Raikou on Mage, and Chaz on Priest. And for Ascendant, we had Ratapai on Priest, Acro Lulz as Rogue, and Marrow as Mage. And
Right.
It came down to the sewer map. I love when that happens. It's just there's something so, I don't know, old school about that map, I guess.
Sure. The old
but,
Undercity map. Yeah,
the old Undercity, because we all know what happens down there.
Right.
But we had the rogues attacking the mages attacking rogues, CCing the mages, sheeps, ice blocks, ring of frost, frozen orbs, CCing priests, blinking to healers for help when they're freaking out. And it was so cool to like see like when the mages would deem like ice block appropriate, because like once you have it, like you don't have it back for like 5 minutes. So there's saps. Eventually there was like no ice blocks left, and Skill Cap Black went full ham on Morrow as soon as his ice block was gone.
Right.
And they brought him down. So
yep,
it was pretty good.
Although, I will say that it started off a little rough because we did have a DC on that first match, and so Ascendance went down one game like right away.
Yeah.
And although they came back to dominate a little bit in the early game in the early match, and then Skill Cap Black came back to finish it off.
Oh yeah, they did.
It was it was pretty cool to watch, and I got to admit, as I'm not new to watching WoW Arena, but I'm new to watching more WoW Arena. This is the year where I'm starting to really watch WoW Arena as it goes on. Pretty cool to watch, and again, we've seen these fairly quick matches in my mind, but a lot of strategy, a lot of skill going into this. So it is very much like watching a very fast chess game.
That's true.
In a lot of ways.
But like less boring than chess.
Way less boring than chess.
Way less boring.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. The other thing that we need to talk about is Overwatch League, because although Overwatch League is off or was off this last weekend, the other stuff that's going on around it is actually pretty cool. Like, as soon as stage 1 ended, the roster changes started. Right?
Oh, yes.
So we're in an open area where people can sign new players and maybe do some switcheroos. Seen a couple of switcheroos, especially from the Spitfire to other teams. But what are some of the roster changes that you in particular have looked at?
I mean, all of them, because that's kind of my job. But
well, sure. But what are some of the big ones in your mind?
In my mind, obviously, number one, Dallas Fuel acquired Dylan, AKM Benet. He's this amazing French player. He played for Team France. I think that he's going to be an amazing addition. Obviously, they're also getting XQC back. So, like, this is going to be, I think, a team changer for them. I don't know any more than that. Like, I'm just hoping for the best in this case, but whatever. So obviously, the Shanghai Dragons picked up 3 new players, including Kim Geguri Yun. Is that how you pronounce her last name?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but Geguri is there, and obviously, she's the first female player in Overwatch League.
Right.
And she wasn't picked for no reason. She was not picked because of the diversity issue, quote unquote. She was picked because she's an amazing Zarya.
And she was picked because the Dragons need some help, because
they really do.
They didn't win a single match last stage, so they definitely need some help. So they picked up her plus another 3 players, right? So a total of 4, is that right?
Yes, there's a 4, yes.
Yeah.
Fearless, Ado, and Sky. So
right.
That'll be nice.
So that'll be good. What else? The Mayhem picked up a few players as well, because those guys only had 6 players going into stage 1. And
so scary. Especially when everybody started getting the flu. I was like, oh, God. Right.
And burnout and stuff like that is a real issue as well. One of the coaches, and I can't remember for which team, was talking about how, you know what, having more players on the roster makes a lot of sense to them, because not only do you have illnesses that happen, but burnout will be a factor, or could be a factor for your team. So got to make sure to rest your players.
Yeah. Yes. Like on the final day of stage 1, where Spitfire had to play 3 times?
Yeah. Right.
In the same day. Yeah. That's dangerous. You can't do that to your players.
Nope, you can't.
So Florida Mayhem's good. They picked up Zappis. He's going to be amazing.
Right.
They reportedly signed a Seiya player and Awesome Guy. So
right. And also, and I don't know how to say his name. FCTN.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. See, that's the thing. It's like, I'm really looking forward to stage 2 so I can learn how to pronounce everybody's name properly.
But he was picked up, and he was from FaZe, and he was like the only player from that team that didn't get picked up by Overwatch League, and now he's picked up. So that'll be interesting to see how he kind of gets incorporated, and he's on Houston, right? I think that's correct. So we've got that. We've also got some changes to the map pool, correct?
Yes. Oh, this is so exciting. I only recently found out about this. So, okay, here's your new assault maps. You ready?
Yeah.
Hanamura, which is going to be very interesting. I've always thought that Hanamura was like completely one-sided. Maybe I'm just bad at it personally, but I feel like it favors defense, but whatever. Volskaya. So Hanamura and Volskaya. The new escort maps, Gibraltar and Route 66. Which I'm really excited about, because Route 66 just seems old
Route 66
school, you know?
is very open and very, very kind of cool, and yeah, I will definitely like to see that map a little bit more. It'll be good.
Hybrid, Kings Row in Hollywood, and Control, Nepal, and Lijiang Tower. So basically, it's like all of the OG maps this time. Like stage 1, we saw some of the newer maps, like Oasis, but this time, like we're seeing all of the oldest maps.
Sure.
So I'm really looking forward to that, because like we've been playing these maps since open beta, presumably. So it's going to be cool to see the pros like really utilize these maps that we know so well. So
is there anything else as far as Overwatch League goes that we should talk about? What do you got?
just quickly, so there's been like kind of a schedule change and lock. It differs slightly from first stage. So the stage finals, like the last day of stage 2, that'll move to Sunday, and it'll start at 1 p.m. PST. So we're not going to see like a full day of matches and then the finals on the same day, because that was a little ridiculous. That was 11 hours of Overwatch League that day. Weekday matches now all start at 4 p.m. PST no matter what. That's not going to change throughout the week. And Saturday matches start at 1 p.m. PST.
All right. So now we have some new times to kind of get used to, but it'll be more consistent across the board.
Yes.
Which will be good. That will be good. Anything else that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I'm just really glad that Overwatch League is going to come back, because it's been a long week without it.
Right. Well,
way too long.
I mean, we record this on Monday, so you only have like a couple of days. It's not. We're not at panic stage yet.
I'm panicking a little. I'm going through withdrawals, but it's going to be fine. It'll be fine, Pat. We're going to pull through. It's fine.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Thist, thank you so much, and make sure to find what Thist is doing on Lagging Balls and at doubletap.com and around the internet. So thank you, Thist, for joining me, and I'll talk to you next week, probably.
Yeah, probably.
And that is going to do it for all of us over here at BattleNet Sports. I want to thank you for joining us. And if you would like to catch even more action, like all the BattleNet news action and the BattleNet Sports action, you can go over to converttoraid.com. That's where our videos are. That's where all the audio is. That's where our guild information is if you're into WoW. And so much more. Also, if you are perhaps interested in becoming a writer for BattleNet News or BattleNet Sports, just go over to battlenetnews.com. That is a special link that we've set up for those that are interested in becoming like cub reporters for BattleNet News and BattleNet Sports. So just go over to battlenetnews.com. There's more information over there. Quick little form and all that kind of stuff. And we're taking submissions for the next few weeks to be for a volunteer writer position over at battlenetnews.com. Okay, that's going to be it. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.